So, I hope that people are feeling more confident with their multiplication skills and feel as though they've developed more strategies to help deal with multiplication calculations. So, today we're still practicing multiplying, but what we're going to be focusing on specifically is multiplying by 10, multiplying by 100, and multiplying by 1,000. And I know that sometimes some of you think to yourself, well, if it's, say, 48 and I'll times it by 10, because I'm multiplying by 10 and making it 10 times bigger, what I'll do is I'll write down 48 and I'll just add 1 0. And so if we were doing the same with 48 times 100, you'll see here that if we're making it 100 times bigger, there are 2 zeros. So we would just need to write 48, put 2 zeros. So the answer to 48 times 100 would be 4,800. And if we were multiplying 48 by 1,000, which has 3 zeros, we would write down 48 and we would put 3 zeros. And the answer to 48 times 1,000 would equal 48,000. Now, that's possible to do with whole numbers, but it's not always true with certain numbers. For example, decimal numbers. So we've been working on money recently. So, for example, if I had £1.56 and I wanted to make it 10 times bigger and I wanted to multiply it by 10, okay, if we followed the same rules, wrote down 1.56 and then put a 0 on the end, we wouldn't have made it 10 times bigger. I'm just going to make the decimal point there bigger. In fact, that's actually worth the same amount of money, 1.560, as 1.56, okay? So I'm going to show you what else we can do to make sure that we fully understand what happens when we multiply a number by 10, by 100, or by 1,000. So for example, I'm going to write 34 multiplied or times by 10 here. And I'm actually going to use a place value chart. So this is going to be my ones column, or sometimes people prefer to call it units. This is going to be T for tens. This is going to be H for hundreds. This is going to be my thousands column. And I'm sure a lot of you will have guessed the next column. Every time we move across, remember, we get 10 times bigger. There's a bit of a clue as to what's going to happen. This is my 10,000 column. So we want to find out what 34 multiplied by 10 equals. So I put 34 in here, and because I'm multiplying it by 10, and there is 1 0 there, I'm going to move what we call each significant digit one place to the left. And if I move each significant digit one place to the left, I will end up with my 3, instead of being in the tens, it will be in the hundreds. I will end up with the 4, instead of it being in the ones, in the tens column. And this is now when we add our 0 to ensure that we're using that 0 as a placeholder, because we don't want to just write 34 as the answer. So we've just calculated that 34 times 10 equals 340. So I'm going to write that there. Okay, so I'm just going to rub out the previous calculation of 340. I've lost my duster, so I'm having to use a paper towel. Okay, and this time we'll calculate 340 times by 100. I want you to think about how many times you think I need to move the significant digits 3 and 4 to the left? Well, because 100 has 2 zeros here, in order to make this number 34 100 times bigger, we're going to move each digit 2 places to the left, and then we're going to use our zeros as a placeholder. Because every time a number moves from one column to the left, it becomes 10 times bigger. So if we move this 4 here 2 places to the left, it becomes 100 times bigger. Okay, so the 3 will move across 2 places, the 4 will move across 2 places, and therefore we put the 3 in the thousands column, we put the 4 in the hundreds column, and we must use the zeros as placeholders. So the answer to, it's going to move my board across, 34 times 100 equals 3,400. Okay? So the last calculation that we're going to do is 34 times 1,000. And I bet you've guessed already how many places we need to actually move the significant digits to the left. So while I rub this out, be guessing or predicting what you think the answer might be. Okay? So 3 zeros in 1,000. So I therefore need to move the 3 places. Just going to move the board across to the left. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. And I also need to move the 4 across 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So just by moving these across, I now have the 3 in the 10,000 column and the 4 in the 1,000 column, and I now need to ensure that my zeros are used correctly as placeholders. Okay, so the answer is 34,000. Okay, so we've got no hundreds, no tens, no ones. So we've got a 3 in the 10,000, a 4 in the 1,000, so it's 34,000. So I'm just going to go back to here. 34 times 1,000 equals 34. Oh, I'm going to write it underneath because my whiteboard isn't big enough. Okay, so 34 times 1,000 equals 34,000. Okay, so this method is particularly useful, okay, when the number that you are multiplying by 10, 100, or 1,000 has a 0 in it as a placeholder. For example, a number like 607. So once I've tidied this up a bit, we'll work through that example and do a couple more, and then you'll be ready to tackle your activities today. So I think I said 607. So if I times it by 10, now what you can do is when you do your own calculations, by all means, draw a place value chart like this in the back of your book or on a piece of paper, and then you can practice moving the digits the appropriate places to the left. Okay, so there is 1 0 there. So I know that I need to move the significant digits once I've put them in the place value chart 1 place to the left. So 607. Okay, so I'm going to move the 6 first of all 1 place to the left. Now I must move the 0 as well because it is a significant digit. I also move the 7 1 place to the left, and then I pop the 0 in there as a placeholder. So now I can copy down 6070 in that order. And if we go back to our original calculation, it was 607 multiplied by 10, and the answer is 6070. Okay, I'll do one more. calculation. So, let's see. Just something completely random. 39 times 100. Okay, so yet again, you can draw your own place value chart. Okay, first thing you do is you put 39 in the correct columns. So looking at this number, it's got 3 10s and it's got 9 1s. Okay, now this time I'm multiplying by 100. So there are 2 zeros there. So to make it 100 times bigger, I move each digit 2 places this time to the left. So the 3, 1, 2. The 9, 1, 2 places, and then I put the zeros in. Okay, so going back to the original calculation, 39 multiplied by 100. Looking at what I got here, I'm writing down these digits here, 3900, and the answer is 3,900. And if you're still unsure of your numbers, what helps me is the fact that I've got the column headings there, 3,900. Okay, good luck with your calculations today.